And just like that, Jesus is dead. Now, welcome to Let's Talk. This is Elroy. Welcome to my world. Today we're going to talk about Jesus' death in The Walking Dead mid-season finale of Season 9. I will begin by saying that Tom Paine was not saddened by this death, but actually happy. He said that he went out on a high because he was always slightly frustrated that he wasn't able to perform the character of Jesus how he liked. And that's obviously because from the beginning in Season 6 when he was introduced, he said that he had been training to do quite intense action sequences since back then. He said that Season 8 was the time, which is really the time when Jesus did shine in the comics. In the All Out War arc, he was expecting to do a lot more actiony type of things. Unfortunately, that didn't take place. It wasn't really written in there. I think that it was mostly because the more actiony kind of person was Daryl instead of Jesus, and he was used in that sense to do most of that stuff in Season 8, which is pretty crazy, although he did go down quite a dark path just to get the job done. Anyways, we're going to talk about how Jesus' death might affect other characters now, and I think that the obvious person that it would have affected is Aaron. Now, we can tell in episode 7 and episode 8 that Aaron and Jesus had been developing quite a strong relationship since Rick disappeared. So, I mean, the question then becomes, how is Aaron going to take this moving forward? What's going to be the consequences for him? How is it going to hurt him? Also, the fact that he takes Rick's place as the leader of Alexandria, we can tell he's on the panel in Rick's place when Magna and the others appear. So, I mean, is this going to be the event that brings Alexandria and the Hilltop together? We know that Tara is now obviously the second in command for Jesus, who had been left in command by presumably Maggie. So now that Jesus is dead, does that mean that Tara is going to take over the Hilltop's leadership? And in that sense, does that mean that Tara and Aaron are going to come together and bring all of the communities together? We can tell that in episode 8, obviously, there is some sort of disharmony between Alexandria and the Hilltop, and to the point where Michonne isn't even really allowed to bring her katana into the Hilltop. So, I mean, there's something big there. Now, does that mean that Jesus' death is going to be the catalyst to bring both of these communities together? Does that mean that this will actually finally convince Michonne and the others of Alexandria that joining all of the communities in the fair is a good idea? I mean, these are all questions that we need to see, and if you watch Season 9 Part B, I'm sure that we'll find the answers to that. There are a few things that I definitely loved about Jesus' character and this episode. The one thing about Jesus' character that was pretty amazing is the fact that, if we think about it, he introduced us to 3 different groups in The Walking Dead. He introduced us originally to the Hilltop when he was brought onto the show. Then he introduced us to the Saviors, because obviously the Saviors were taking half of the Hilltop's resources, and so basically because of Jesus we met the Saviors and the Hilltop together. Then he finally introduced us to the Whisperers, and that's because he died because of the Whisperers. Now, I guess that you could attribute the Whisperer introduction to 3 characters on the show this season. The first would be Eugene, the second would be Rosita, and then finally you have Jesus. And I mean, also technically, you could attribute it to Daryl, who unmasked the Whisperer that killed Jesus. So I mean, if it wasn't for these scenarios, then we really wouldn't have known. Well, if it wasn't for Jesus, we wouldn't have known the Hilltop, the Saviors, or the Whisperers. So I mean, that's pretty crazy in itself. The other thing that I really loved about this episode was that it was really action-packed. Jesus' death itself was quite action-packed and quite crazy, and I think that for him to depart like this is pretty epic, and it's definitely going to be something that's kind of groundbreaking moving forward. So I mean, I'm really keen to see what happens for the rest of the characters as we go on here. The thing that I didn't like so much about this is that we learn too quickly that the Whisperers are just people with zombie skin wrapped around their bodies, which I think it's pretty ridiculous considering that they could have gone down this idea that the Walkers are evolving for a whole lot longer, that the Walkers are learning to speak, that they're learning to fight. It would have been pretty crazy for something like that to happen. And just to see how the characters would have reacted to this idea that the Walkers are evolving and maybe they have to evolve their format for defense and for attacking and for learning to fight. But I mean, obviously that's not how it played out, and Daryl unmasked the Whisperer. really quickly. So now we know that it is just a group of people, which is pretty crazy in itself. Now, I will say that regarding the comic storyline for Jesus, we can see that Aaron and Jesus, they had a relationship in the comics. Now, that is a spoiler. If you didn't want spoilers, go ahead and read the Walking Dead comics. They are amazing. I do read them and I'm up to date. But we're going to just talk about that for a moment. They do grow quite close, and obviously, because Aaron's boyfriend has died, now Jesus and Aaron may have had some sort of a relationship in the 6 years that passed since Rick disappeared, but we never really get to see that taking place. And I mean, even Tom Payne has said, what's the point of putting two gay characters together just because they're gay? It doesn't make sense. And look, I completely agree with that outlook. It's just because they're gay, why do they have to have a relationship? Let's make them strong characters in their own right. And I think AMC has definitely done a great job of making Aaron a pretty strong character. They definitely did a great job of developing Jesus throughout the show into this strong character as well. So I mean, power to them both. Now, the question, I guess, is what does this mean for Aaron relationship-wise? I mean, we didn't put two gay characters together in the form of Jesus and Aaron, but does that mean that Aaron will get a partner later on, or does he stay single for the rest of the show? What's the go there until maybe eventually he dies? Who knows how that's going to work, but I'm really keen to see what will happen in the next few seasons for Aaron. All in all, I definitely think that this was a great cliffhanger for season 9. And I think that it's a great showing to see how far the show can go. With Angela Kang as the showrunner, I think that this season has the potential to really rejuvenate the whole show. And you know what, to be fair with you, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the second half is going to bring. I know that Tom Payne has said that he is going to be in another episode. Now, my presumption is that's the episode that we'll have where we get to see Maggie again. Will their stories be intertwined? Will it be something else that completely different? Will they be separated? I'm really keen to see what's going to happen, and I would really love to hear what you guys think down below. So just leave a comment, like and subscribe if you haven't. I will be trying to talk about as many different questions that I can think of, and if you guys have questions or theories or scenarios that you'd like me to talk about, please again leave a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to read them, be more than happy to see what I can do for you. Otherwise, have a great day. This has been Let's Talk Jesus' Death. My name is Elroy. This is my world. Have a great day.